Hey beginners, I heard that you want to have your first guitar lesson today. Well, today's your day. I promise that you will be making music by the end. Coming up. Hey everyone, Paul Zagorski here, PZ Guitar, your virtual practice partner. And so, you know what? Maybe you've never had a guitar lesson before. Maybe somebody just bought you a guitar. Maybe you inherited one. Maybe you found one. Maybe you went out and bought one on a lark, whatever. But you've got one of these things now and you really don't know what to do about it. So today's your first guitar lesson. 2 chords, 2 fingers, you'll be making music, I guarantee. So let's just do a real quick anatomy of what this thing is here. This is an acoustic guitar. This is the body of the guitar. These are the strings, these guys here. Each one has a name because they're tuned to a particular note. Eddie, 8, dynamite, good by Eddie. That's one of the things that you're going to have to remember. E-A-D-G-B-E. This is the saddle, and way up, this is the neck. This is the fretboard, and up here is the nut. And the strings vibrate from here to here. And if I were to, let's say, just pluck this one string, it's going to vibrate at a particular frequency. And if I hold it here, it vibrates at a higher frequency because I've shortened the length of the string. And that's what these little metal things are. They're frets. So this is the first fret, second, third, all the way up to 12, 13, 14, and up to 20 on this particular guitar. There's little markers here on the fretboard that let you know where you are. There's also little dots on the side that let you know where you are. Up here at the headstock end are these little tuning machines, and I can adjust the tension of the string to raise or lower the pitch. So that's an electric guitar is just like this, only different. It's very, very similar, but you have to plug it in to an amplifier to actually hear something. Here on an acoustic, all the mechanical energy that you impart by hitting either with your thumb or with a pick gets transmitted into the soundboard, to the top wood of this, and you can actually hear it. So let's now talk about, let's make some sounds. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to form our first chord. It's going to be called E minor. We're going to use 2 fingers. And for a beginner, since you've never done this before, I think these 2 fingers, fingers 1 and 2, are probably the most adept of being able to do this right now, to be able to move them, because I like asking you to do things that you've never really done before. So as we get a little bit of a close-up here, what we're going to do is we're going to use these 2 fingers, fingers 1 and finger 2, and we're going to place them on the fretboard. We're going to place our index finger on the second string, the A string here. This is string 6, this is string 5, this is E, A, D, G, B, E. Eddie, 8, dynamite, good by Eddie. So we're going to put our first finger on the second fret, which is, here's the second fret, here's the first fret. So it's going to be in this area here. We're going to put our finger down and press. So here's how this is how the string sounds without being pressed. And now if I put my finger down on it, so it changes pitch. So we're going to put our finger down, and what you might find when you're first starting out, that it may sound muted, not like press a little harder. That gets rid of that mute. Sometimes you might find that it sounds a little like buzzy. Hear that buzz? You got to move your finger closer to the fret. It's too far away. So watch what happens. Cleans right up. So to make our E minor chord, that's our first chord, we're going to put finger number 1, second fret, A string, and I'm going to put our finger number 2, the middle finger, right underneath it, same fret, and we're going to fret that note. And all together, we're going to now strum downwards. That's your first chord, E minor. Our second chord is called A sus2. It's a big name. It's really kind of easy. So let's take our fingers off the fretboard, but keep the shape. So I'm going to keep these 2 fingers the same. I'm just going to keep them together, give them a little bit of a break right now, and I'm going to put them back on. Instead of being on strings 5 and 4, it's going to be on 4 and 3. So instead of being up here, I'm going to move them down to here. Try not to hit this low E string here. Try not to hit this Eddie string. If you do, it's okay. You're a beginner, no big deal. But try not to. Actually, here's a pro tip. And even though it's your first lesson, here's a pro tip. You could use your thumb to intentionally mute the string. Now I can hit all 6 strings. So this is A sus2, we'll call it A sus. And we take the shape and we move it up, the string set the way we were, and hit all 6 strings again, leaving this string unmuted, so it rings out. Those are your 2 chords. Let's talk about strumming here for just a bit. Let me just move this a little bit over. So what I would like you to do for when it comes to strumming is to, on the down strum, when you're going from high to low, I'd like you to have your pick pointed in this direction, because that way it can fall to the next string and not get hung up. Now, by the end of this lesson here, we're going to be using an up strum as well. So on the up strum, if I keep my pick in this angle, it's going to get hung up. So I'm going to need to rotate my wrist so that it now points down, so that way it can fall from the high E to the B. You see how I'm just rotating my wrist a little bit? So that's how we're going to do this. And for the strumming here, where I'm just going to be pivoting my elbow, I'm going to leave it on the guitar, and I'm just going to move it up and down ever slow. I'm just going to let gravity take it down. I'm going to pull it back up. I'm not going to be hard about it. I'm going to be as relaxed as I possibly can. I'm going to hold on to my pick gently. If it falls into the sound hole on an acoustic, you're just going to have to fish it out and join the club. It's going to happen. So we're just going to practice a little bit of strumming here. We're just going to mute our strings, and we're just going to go down, 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 down. We'll do that sequence 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the pattern here. You know, just down strums. So let's now do our E minor and our A sus chord. So let's remember our fingers 1 and 2. Let's put it on the 2nd fret, A string, D string, and we'll do 4 down strums times 4. 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Give your fingers a well-deserved break. Now we're going to do the A sus chord, the A sus2 chord. It's the same shape, same 2 fingers. Instead of being strings 5 and 4, it's going to be 4 and 3. So let's make that, and I'm going to intentionally mute this low E string here. Okay. Again, 4 strums of 4. 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Let's give our fingers a little break again. This time we're going to do 2 strums of E minor, and we're going to do 2 bars. 4 strums here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 bar. So actually, you know what? Let's do 1 bar of E minor, and then do 1 bar of A sus. And then we'll go back and repeat. So let's do that nice and slow. I'm going to give you plenty of time to to move between the E minor and the A sus, and from A sus back to E minor. Try not to lift your fingers way off and go back down. Try and keep your fingers as close to the strings as you possibly can. Keep your movement as simple and as easy as possible. So that you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. 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 A sus. Last E minor. And last A sus. Very good. Now let's do one other thing. Now let's add an upstrum. So here's what I want. I'm going to mute the strings, and so let me demonstrate it first. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So let's just try that on the E minor. Again. Now let's do that on A sus. Back to E minor. A sus. A sus. E minor. Okay, give your fingers a well-deserved break. I told you to be making music. I told you. So that's basically all we're going to do here today. We're going to do 2 chords, E minor and A sus2. And we're going to do a little bit of a pattern. And you're making music. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around for your first guitar lesson. I told you you'd be making music. I told you you'd be making music. And hopefully, you know, it's going to take some time. It's going to take, you know, a number of weeks, maybe a couple of months before you get your fingers tough enough, before you stop thinking so much about where to put your fingers that they become a little bit natural. That's the reason why this particular lesson we're using these 2 fingers, because I think these are the most, they have the most dexterity that for a beginner to manipulate. You know, typically for the E minor chord, I would not use these 2 fingers. I would use these 2 fingers. I would use fingers 2 and 3. As a matter of fact, let me just show you right away. This, see if you can listen to here's fingers 1 and 2. Listen. Okay. Now I'm gonna use fingers 2 and 3. Listen. You ready? Go back. And back again. Same thing. The guitar is agnostic as to if I use fingers 1 and 2, or I use fingers 2 and 3, or I could use fingers 1 and in fact, let's use the index and the ring. See how that sounds. Same thing. It's going to be the same sound. Sometimes it's important to know what chord you just played as to what fingers might be appropriate, or more importantly, what chord follows, so that way you can prep for it. So typically, I prefer to use fingers 2 and 3, but right now for a beginner, fingers 1 and 2 are the easiest ones to manipulate back and forth. That's the reason why I chose that. If you want to do the same lesson but use fingers 2 and 3, you could do that lesson just like that as well. Use fingers 2 and 3. That's up to you. But I hope you had fun here. I hope you found some value in this. You know, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, so that way you get notified, because I do post a lot. You know, I posted a couple hundred videos here so far, and I hope that you find this to be a good starting point. We're going to do an A chord, we'll do a D chord, we'll do an E chord, we'll do a C chord, we'll do a G chord, we'll do all the, quote, cowboy chords as part of our beginner series here on strumming. So this is a good start. I told you make music. And don't forget, and also, don't be afraid to try a different strumming pattern. I got a little out of control there. But anyway, have fun. That's the reason why you have this thing, is to have some fun. And I'll see you soon.